The war had ended, but the wounds it left behind were still open. Captain Raiden Cole walked through the shining corridors of the Zenthari capital, his boots echoing softly against the crystal floors. Everywhere he looked, alien eyes followed him, sharp, glowing, curious, and filled with silent judgment. To them, he was a representative of the species that almost destroyed their world. To him, they were ghosts of a battle he wished had never happened. It was supposed to be a simple peace mission. Humans and Zenthari had fought for 5 long years over a misunderstanding about territory. Now both sides wanted to rebuild, to pretend they could live together peacefully. But Raiden knew trust didn't grow in ashes. That was when he first saw her. She stood on the steps of the great hall surrounded by her people. Her skin shimmered like moonlit silver, and her golden eyes reflected light like pools of liquid fire. She was tall, slender, almost fragile-looking, yet there was something powerful about her presence. The way others looked at her told him she was important. Royalty, perhaps? Her gaze found him instantly. It wasn't a casual look, and it was deep, intense, almost invasive. For a moment, Raiden felt exposed, as if she could see right through his armor, right into his thoughts. When the meeting ended, she walked toward him with quiet, measured steps. The air around her carried a faint hum, like the world itself recognized her presence. "You are human," she said. Her voice was melodic but firm, carrying both curiosity and authority. Raiden nodded carefully. "Captain Raiden Cole, peace representative from Earth." She tilted her head, studying him. "Raiden," she repeated as if testing the sound of his name. "I am Elira, daughter of the Zenthari High Council." Her eyes glowed brighter for a moment. "You smell different," he blinked. What?" "Your scent," she said simply. "It carries warmth. My kind can sense emotion through pheromones. You smell of sorrow and kindness." Raiden wasn't sure how to respond. "That's quite an observation." Elira stepped closer, too close. "I have never met a creature like you. Most humans I saw in the war were full of rage, but you are calm." "I've seen enough rage for one lifetime," he said quietly. She studied him for a long time, her golden eyes flickering with some unreadable emotion. Then, without another word, she turned and left, her silver cloak trailing like starlight behind her. Raiden thought that was the end of it, but he was wrong. The next day he saw her again, standing quietly near the human quarters. The guards didn't stop her. She was, after all, a council daughter. Every time he went out, he found her somewhere nearby, silent, watching, curious. At first he tried to ignore her, but one evening when he sat by the garden fountain, she approached again. "Do humans always look at the stars when they are alone?" she asked. Raiden glanced up at the night sky. It was full of unfamiliar constellations, bright and endless. "We look up to remember there's more than pain down here," he said. "It reminds us to keep hoping." Elira looked puzzled. "Hope, that is a human word, yes?" "Yes," he said softly. "It means believing in something even when you can't see it." She fell silent for a long moment, her golden eyes reflecting the starlight. Then she said, "Your species is strange. You fight, destroy, and yet you still—" "Hope," Raiden smiled faintly. "It's what keeps us alive." Her expression softened, and for the first time he thought he saw something human in her face. Curiosity mixed with longing. "You are not like the others," she whispered. He chuckled. "You mean I don't carry a gun everywhere?" She shook her head slowly. "No, you don't carry hatred." From that day on, she followed him more openly. She watched how he treated the Zenthari workers with respect, how he smiled even when they ignored him, how he listened instead of commanding. To her, these were strange things. Her people didn't smile at strangers. They didn't show emotion unless it was control or pride. And yet this human showed kindness without reason. By the end of the week, everyone in the embassy was talking. "The alien princess is obsessed with Captain Raiden," one soldier joked. Raiden brushed it off, but deep down he was beginning to feel uneasy. Elira wasn't just curious anymore. Her gaze had changed. It was focused, possessive, as if she had decided something in her heart that he didn't understand. And one night, when he turned around in his quarters and found her standing there, uninvited and silent, he realized it wasn't curiosity anymore. It was something else entirely, something that would change both their worlds forever. Raiden couldn't sleep that night. The alien moonlight poured through the wide glass window of his quarters, painting the room in silver and blue. He was tired, his body aching from the long day of meetings, but his mind wouldn't rest. Elira's eyes haunted him, golden, glowing, unblinking. There was something in them that he couldn't explain. When the door suddenly opened with a soft hiss, Raiden sat up quickly. And there she was again. Elira stepped inside like the room belonged to her. The soft hum of her energy field followed her every movement. Her long cloak shimmered faintly, and in her hands she held a small crystalline pendant that pulsed with a dim light. "Elira," Raiden said quietly, "you can't just walk in like that." She tilted her head slightly, confused. "Why not?" "Because humans value privacy," he said, trying to stay calm. "We don't enter each other's rooms without asking." She blinked slowly. "But we are already connected," Raiden frowned. "Connected? What do you mean?" Elira took a deep breath, her glowing markings flickering brighter across her arms. "I have chosen you, Raiden," she said softly, her tone both firm and gentle. "You are to be my bondmate." Raiden's heart stopped for a second. "Your what?" "My bondmate," she repeated, stepping closer. "In my culture, when a Zenthari feels drawn to another being and when their energy calls to ours and we claim them, it is sacred. It means we will share life and strength forever." He stared at her, speechless. The pendant in her hand began to glow brighter. She continued, her voice calm and certain. "This crystal records the bond. It links two souls so they never part. You will be mine and I will be yours." Raiden's throat went dry. He could see the sincerity in her eyes, but he also saw something that frightened him. Complete certainty, no doubt, no choice. "Elira," he said slowly, "humans don't claim people. We choose, we love. But it's not about owning someone." Elira looked confused. "Owning?" "Yes, what you're describing sounds like control. Love isn't about control." Her golden eyes softened slightly, but her expression didn't change. "But that is how we show care. When we bond, we protect. We provide. We never allow harm to come to the one we claim. It is devotion." He shook his head gently. "But what if the person doesn't want that bond?" Elira seemed to think about it for a long time. Her face twitched slightly, confusion, pain, disbelief all passing through. "That never happens," she said finally in a small voice. "When we bond, the other accepts. That is how it has always been." Raiden sighed. He could feel her sincerity, her innocence in this misunderstanding. She wasn't trying to dominate him. She was trying to express something she thought was love, but it wasn't love. Not yet. "Elira," he said softly, stepping closer. "Your people may bond like that, but humans need freedom. Without freedom, love can't exist." Her eyes dimmed. The golden light that usually glowed from her skin flickered weakly. "Freedom," she whispered. "You would rather be free than mine?" He smiled sadly. "I don't want to belong to anyone. I want to walk beside them." "There's a difference." She didn't speak for a long time. The pendant in her hand dimmed until it turned almost dark. "I do not understand," she said quietly. "But when I see you, something inside me changes. I want to be near you. I want to protect you. I do not want anyone else to touch you. Is that not love?" Raiden looked into her eyes and saw genuine confusion. The kind of confusion that comes from a heart that's never known affection without control. He shook his head gently. "That's a feeling, Elira, but love is more than wanting. It's about caring even when you have to let go." Her lips parted slightly as if the words hurt her. "Let go?" she whispered. "Zenthari never let go." "Maybe it's time you learned how," he said softly. For a moment, silence filled the room. Only the soft hum of the alien night outside could be heard. Then Elira turned her gaze toward the window. The stars reflected in her eyes like tiny pieces of sadness. "I thought claiming you would make the feeling stop," she murmured. "But now it burns even stronger." Raiden's heart ached. He wanted to comfort her, but he knew it would only confuse her more. "Elira," he said gently, "we'll figure it out. Together, but not like this." She nodded slowly, her expression unreadable. Then she looked at him one last time, her eyes full of something fragile. Not command, not power, but pain. "When you speak," she whispered, "your words hurt me. But they also make me feel alive." And then she turned and walked out into the silver moonlight, leaving the pendant on his table, its glow fading softly like the echo of a heartbeat. Raiden sat there for a long time, staring at it, wondering what he had just started. Because deep down, he knew one truth. The alien girl hadn't understood love, but she was beginning to learn. Days passed after the night Elira had tried to claim Raiden. She didn't visit him again, not at first. The silence between them stretched like an invisible wall, built from confusion and unspoken feelings. Raiden spent his days writing reports, attending meetings, pretending everything was fine. But sometimes, when he walked through the glowing gardens of the Zenthari capital, he could feel her presence somewhere near. Quiet, distant, watching. He knew she was avoiding him, yet she never really left. Elira was changing. She spent hours among the humans stationed at the embassy, silently observing their habits. She watched how they laughed together, how they argued but forgave, how they shared food and stories. It was strange to her, this open exchange of emotion, this freedom of heart. Her people didn't speak of feelings. They obeyed tradition. They bonded for life but never questioned what it truly meant. One afternoon she saw two humans sitting by the fountain, sharing a small piece of fruit. They smiled as they talked, and one of them gently brushed the other's hand. Elira stared at the gesture for a long time, feeling something inside her chest twist. There was no bond crystal, no ceremony, no claim. Yet what they shared looked warmer than any bond she had ever witnessed. Later that evening, she found Raiden sitting under a wide alien tree, writing in his tablet. The light from the screen glowed softly on his face. For a while, she just watched him, the human who had refused her bond, who had made her heart ache and awaken at the same time. Then she gathered her courage and stepped closer. Raiden looked up immediately. "Elira," he said gently. "You've been gone for days." She hesitated before answering. "I have been watching, trying to understand your ways." He smiled faintly. "And what did you learn?" Elira's golden eyes met his. "Humans are strange," she said softly. "You share your heart so easily. You give kindness to those who may never return it. You call that love?" Raiden nodded slowly. "Yes, love isn't a trade. It's something you give freely." She tilted her head. "Freely, without expecting anything?" "Yes," he said. "Because love isn't about possession. It's about care. It's about wanting someone to be happy, even if it costs you something." Elira looked down at her hands, the silver markings on her skin glowing faintly. "My people do not love that way," she murmured. "We bind because we fear being alone. We bond so no one can leave. We think that if we hold tightly enough, we will never lose." Raiden's expression softened. "That's not love, Elira, that's fear." She looked at him with quiet sadness. "Then what is love truly?" He thought for a moment, then spoke gently. "It's when you choose someone every day, not because you have to, but because you want to. It's trust. It's patience. It's freedom." Elira's lips trembled slightly. "Freedom," she repeated in a whisper. "Your word hurts, but it also feels beautiful." Raiden smiled softly. "That's because real love always carries both, pain and beauty." They sat in silence for a while, the alien wind blowing softly through the trees. Elira's mind raced with thoughts she had never dared to think before. Could something without ownership, without binding, truly last? Her world had always taught her that strength came from control. But when she looked at Raiden, she saw something stronger: gentleness. Finally, she said quietly, "I want to understand your kind of love." Raiden looked up, surprised. "You do?" She nodded. "Yes, but I don't know how." He smiled gently. "You start small. You listen, you care. You don't try to change someone, you just stand beside them." Elira's eyes softened. "Stand beside," she repeated. "Not above, not over." "Exactly," he said. "Love isn't about who leads. It's about walking together." Elira took a slow breath. "Then will you walk with me?" Raiden smiled, a soft human smile that reached his eyes. "I already am." A faint warmth spread through Elira's chest. She had never felt this kind of peace before, a calm that came not from control but from connection. When she left that night, she didn't take her pendant. She didn't speak of bonds or claims. For the first time, she didn't feel the need to mark her belonging. Instead, she whispered into the starlit air, "Maybe love doesn't need chains to stay." And far above the glowing sky of Zenthari, the stars seemed to shimmer brighter, as if they too approved of the alien girl who was finally learning what it meant to feel. Elira walked away with a quiet smile, carrying no crystal, no promise, only a fragile, glowing hope inside her heart. It was the beginning of something new, something her people had forgotten long ago, and she was ready to discover it, one heartbeat at a time. Elira's heart had begun to change, but her world had not. For the first time in her life, she started to question the laws that shaped her people. She asked her teachers about love, about feeling without bonding, about caring without ownership. But every time she received the same cold answer. Love is weakness. Only the bond keeps us united. Those words no longer satisfied her. They sounded hollow, like metal scraping stone. She thought of Raiden often, his gentle smile, the warmth in his voice, the way he listened without judgment. He had no markings, no energy field, no ancient power, yet when she was near him, she felt something deeper than strength. She felt peace, but peace had its price. One evening, when Elira went to the human quarters to meet Raiden, she found guards waiting outside. Their armor shimmered in silver light, and their faces were hard as stone. "Princess Elira," one of them said coldly, "you are to return to the High Council. Immediately." She frowned. "On what order?" "Your father's," the guard replied. "The council has been informed of your continued association with the human envoy. It is forbidden." Elira's chest tightened. "Forbidden?" she whispered. "We are no longer at war." "The war may be over," the guard said, "but the blood of our kind must not mix with theirs. You are the daughter of the council. Your behavior dishonors the line of Zenthari." Before she could protest, they surrounded her. Their glowing staffs crackled with energy, warning her not to resist. Raiden, hearing the commotion, came running. "What's happening?" he shouted. When he saw the guards, he froze. Elira tried to reach for him, but one of the guards stepped between them. "Captain Raiden Cole," the guard said sharply, "you are to remain in your quarters until further notice. The princess will not be allowed near you again." Raiden's jaw tightened. "She has the right to speak to whomever she chooses," the guard sneered. "Humans have no say in Zenthari matters." Elira's eyes burned with anger. "Enough!" she cried. "You will not speak to him that way." Her defiance only made things worse. The guards grabbed her by the arms. "You will answer to the council," one said. As they dragged her away, Elira looked back at Raiden. Her golden eyes shimmered with both pain and strength. "Raiden!" she called out, her voice breaking. "Don't forget what you taught me." And then she was gone. The council chamber was vast and cold, filled with towering crystal pillars that glowed faintly with ancient energy. At the center stood the High Council, and among them her father, Lord Zelthar, his silver robes flowing like liquid light. "Elira," he said, his voice calm but sharp. "Is it true? You have been consorting with the human?" Elira stood tall, her chin lifted though her heart trembled. "Yes, father. I have spoken with him, learned from him. He has shown me things our people have forgotten." Murmurs rippled through the council. Zelthar's eyes narrowed. "And what have you learned, my daughter?" Elira took a breath. "That love is not a chain. It is freedom. It is kindness without control. It is something we have lost." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. To them her words were madness. "Love is weakness," one elder hissed. "The bond is our strength. Without it we are chaos." Elira's voice shook but did not break. "Without love we are empty." Her father's face hardened. "Enough, you speak like a human. Their weakness has infected you," she met his gaze. "If caring for another makes me weak, then I welcome it." The room fell silent. Zelthar rose slowly, his robe trailing across the floor like smoke. "You will be confined to the inner chambers until this sickness leaves your heart," he said coldly. "You will not see the human again." Elira's voice trembled. "You can lock my body, father, but not my heart." His expression softened for only a moment, then he turned away. "Take her." The guards let her out, and the great crystal doors closed behind her with a deep echo. That night, Raiden was ordered to prepare for departure. The human delegation was being sent back to Earth immediately, under the excuse of diplomatic restructuring. But he knew the truth. They wanted him gone because of her. When he tried to contact her, the message was blocked. Every channel, every signal, silent. He felt powerless, trapped on a world that had once seemed beautiful but now felt like a cage. On the morning of his departure, As he looked out over the alien city, a single thought filled his mind. I taught her what love means, but now she's paying the price for it. The transport engines began to hum, bright and cold. As the ship lifted off, Raiden closed his eyes and whispered her name. Far below in her locked chamber, Elira pressed her hand to the window and whispered the same word. And though galaxies of distance and silence stretched between them, both hearts carried the same pain. The pain of love learned too late and lost too soon. The ship that carried Raiden away from Zenthari space drifted through the darkness like a lonely ghost. He sat near the window, staring at the endless stars. Each one reminded him of her. Elira, with her golden eyes and soft voice that once shimmered with curiosity and warmth. Now, she was light years away, trapped behind walls of tradition and fear. Every night on the long journey back to Earth, he thought about their last conversation. Her words echoed in his head like an ache that wouldn't fade. Love is not a chain, it is freedom. She had said it with such quiet strength. And now she was imprisoned because of it. When Raiden finally reached Earth, he felt nothing but emptiness. The blue skies that once gave him comfort now felt dull. The people who greeted him spoke words of praise, calling him a symbol of peace, but he couldn't hear any of it. He smiled for the cameras, nodded for the officials, but his heart was somewhere else. In the evenings, he would sit alone in his small apartment overlooking the city. He stopped writing reports, stopped attending meetings. He just stared at the stars, wondering if somewhere among them, Elira was looking at the same night sky, thinking of him. Weeks turned into months. Still no message came. He tried contacting the Zenthari embassy several times, but his requests were denied. They called Elira's matter a personal affair of the royal family, words that cut like knives. But Raiden didn't give up hope. He couldn't. Then, one stormy night, as thunder rolled across the city and lightning flashed through the clouds, his communication terminal began to blink. It wasn't a normal signal. It was weak, distorted, and encoded in Zenthari frequency. His heart began to race. He quickly opened the message. And there she was. Elira's holographic image flickered before him. Faint, trembling, but real. Her eyes were dim, her markings pale, and her voice broke as she spoke. Raiden, I don't have much time. He froze. Elira, where are you? Are you safe? She smiled weakly. I escaped the council's chambers. They are hunting me. My father, he cannot understand what I feel. He says I am broken. But I am not broken, Raiden. I am awake. Tears filled his eyes. Elira, listen to me. You need to hide. I'll find a way to reach you. She shook her head. No, Raiden, you must not come. It is too dangerous. I only wanted to see you once more, to tell you that I understand now. Her voice trembled with emotion. Love is not claiming. It is letting go. You showed me that. I am running now, not because I am afraid, but because I am free. Raiden clenched his fists. I won't lose you again. Do you hear me? I'll come for you. Elira's eyes softened with tears. Always the human heart, she whispered, so full of hope. Even when hope hurts. Static filled the signal. The image flickered violently. Elira, he shouted. Tell me where you are. She managed one last whisper before the screen went dark. The moon of Relara. I'll wait for you, under the twin lights. And then the signal died. Raiden stared at the empty screen, his heart pounding. For a long moment he couldn't move. He just sat there, frozen between disbelief and determination. Then slowly he stood. His decision was made. He opened his drawer and took out his old flight badge, the same one he had worn during the war. He looked at it for a second, then whispered, For peace, they sent me there. For love, I'll go back. By morning, he had already stolen a small transport ship from the Earth station. It wasn't made for long-distance travel, but that didn't matter. He didn't need permission. He didn't need orders. He only needed her. As the engines roared, to life and the ship lifted into the dark sky, Raiden felt his heart beating faster than ever. Every star outside the window seemed to burn brighter, guiding him toward her. For the first time in months, he felt alive again. Somewhere out there, Elira was waiting, wounded, hunted, but still holding on to the fragile light of love they had built together. He didn't know if he could save her. He didn't even know if she was still alive. But he knew one thing for certain. He would rather die trying to find her than live a life pretending he hadn't loved her. The shuttle rattled as it pierced the thin atmosphere of Rilara's moon. Raiden gripped the controls, his jaw tight, eyes fixed on the jagged horizon ahead. The twin lights, as Elira had said, glowed faintly in the distance, casting an eerie silver-blue shimmer over the barren rocks. Every instinct in him screamed caution. He had no map, no allies, and no guarantee she was still alive. But he didn't hesitate. The thought of her, her golden eyes, her soft voice, the quiet strength she had shown, pushed him forward. As the shuttle landed, dust and stone flew in every direction, making the air shimmer like heat waves on a summer road. Raiden switched off the engines and leaned forward, listening. Silence, except for the faint hum of alien energy. He stepped outside, boots crunching on the uneven ground, and scanned the horizon. The moon was desolate, covered in jagged cliffs and strange glowing crystals. But there, under the larger of the twin lights, he saw her, Elira. She was crouched near a jagged rock, her body trembling, markings on her skin dim and flickering. Her cloak was torn, and her golden eyes widened as she saw him. "Raiden," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the wind. He ran to her, careful not to alarm her further. "Elira, are you okay?" I am," she said, trying to sound strong, but the tremble in her voice betrayed her. "But they are coming. My father's guards are searching the entire moon. They will not stop until—" Her voice faltered and she shook her head. Raiden knelt beside her. "I won't let them touch you. Not ever." She looked at him, tears brimming in her golden eyes. "You came. You actually came." "I promised," he said, taking her hands in his. "I always keep my promises." Her hands were cold, but the warmth in her heart seemed to reach out through his touch. For a moment, the universe outside ceased to exist. There was only them, breathing in the same air, feeling the same pulse of life. Suddenly the ground trembled. Raiden's head snapped up. In the distance, a patrol of Zenthari guards advanced, glowing staffs raised, scanning for signs of movement. "They're here," Elira whispered. Panic flashed across her face. Raiden stood quickly. "We need to move. There's a cave nearby. The crystals will hide us." Together they ran, leaping over rocks and crevices, the twin lights casting long shadows behind them. Elira stumbled once, and Raiden caught her without hesitation. "Thank you," she whispered, gripping his arm tightly. "You don't need to thank me," he said. "Just stay close. I won't let them take you." They reached the cave, and Raiden activated a small flare that illuminated the crystals inside with a soft blue light. The walls glowed, creating a strange magical atmosphere. Elira sank to her knees, exhausted. "I can't believe you came for me," she murmured, voice trembling. I thought I would never see you again." He knelt beside her. "I told you, Elira, love is about choice. I chose to come. I chose to find you. You may have learned what love means, but I'm showing you too." Her golden eyes glistened. I do understand now," she said quietly. "It's not possession, it's care. It's being willing to risk everything for someone else." Raiden smiled softly. "Exactly. And I'll keep risking it, for as long as I live." For a long moment, they simply sat there, holding each other in the quiet glow of the crystals. Outside, the patrol searched in vain, their voices echoing over the rocky terrain. But inside, Elira and Raiden were safe, if only for a little while. Finally, she looked up at him, her face streaked with dirt and tears, yet radiant with relief. "You never let me claim you," she whispered. I never needed to, he said, brushing a lock of hair from her face. I let you love me. That's stronger than any claim. Elira's eyes filled with tears again, but this time they were different, full of understanding, trust, and something Raiden had never seen in any Zenthari before. Hope. Then, I am yours, she whispered. Not because I must be, but because I choose to be. Raiden's heart ached, not with pain, but with overwhelming joy. And I am yours too, Elira. Not because I have to, but because I want to be. Outside, the patrols began to retreat, frustrated. But inside the cave, under the magical glow of Rilara's twin lights, two hearts finally beat in harmony, free, unbound, and fully alive. The galaxy might have tried to keep them apart. Tradition, war, and fear had all tried to hold them back. But in this quiet cave on a distant moon, Elira and Raiden discovered something the stars themselves seemed to envy. True love, born of choice, courage, and trust. And in that moment, nothing else mattered. The escape from Rilara's moon was quiet but tense. Raiden piloted the shuttle through jagged canyons, Elira beside him, still trembling but holding onto his arm as if he were her anchor. The twin lights of the moon faded behind them, leaving only the infinite darkness of space. For the first time in months, they were truly free. Elira leaned back, her golden eyes fixed on the stars beyond the cockpit window. I never thought I could feel like this, she whispered. To be free and safe, it is beautiful. Raiden smiled softly. That's what love feels like when it's real. No chains, no rules, just choice and trust. She looked at him, trying to understand the warmth that radiated from him. I used to think claiming someone meant protecting them, she admitted. But now I see. It's not protection that matters, it's willingness, choosing to be with someone even when you could walk away. Raiden reached out and gently held her hand. And you've done that, Elira. You chose to trust me, to love me without force. That is stronger than any bond your people could create. Her chest swelled with emotion and tears glimmered in her eyes. I was afraid at first, she admitted. Afraid I was wrong. Afraid you might leave. I won't leave, he said quietly. Not ever. That's what love is. It's not about chains or rules. It's about being there when the other needs you, no matter the cost. Elira's lips trembled into a soft smile. I understand now, she whispered. I finally understand what love truly means. The shuttle glided silently through the galaxy, carrying two hearts that had endured separation, fear, and doubt, yet had emerged stronger, more connected than ever. Raiden felt a weight lift from his chest. After months of longing and uncertainty, he finally saw her, truly alive, smiling at him with trust and courage shining in her eyes. I used to think my people's way was the only way, she continued. Bonding, claiming. It felt safe. But I see now safety without freedom is a cage. Real love, real care, cannot be forced. Raiden nodded. You learned it through courage. By questioning, by seeing beyond tradition. That's why I knew you were different from the start. She leaned her head on his shoulder, the faint glow of her markings reflecting in the soft light of the cockpit. And you stayed. Even when I was locked away, even when I was far, you came back. That is love. Raiden wrapped his arm around her gently. Because you were worth it. Always worth it. For a long moment, they drifted through the endless black, the stars twinkling like tiny witnesses to their bond.
In that silence, there were no rules, no judgment, no danger. There was only them, two souls different yet connected, bound not by chains, but by choice. Finally, Elira looked up, her golden eyes glowing softly. We can travel together now, she said.
Teach others. Show them there's a better way. That love does not need control, only trust. Raiden smiled. Yes. We can help them see that, and we can live freely, together. She reached out and touched his cheek. I am yours, she whispered. Not because I have to be, but because I choose to be, and I know you are mine, by choice, not by force. I am, he said, feeling tears in his own eyes, and I choose you, every day. As the shuttle glided toward the stars, the twin hearts felt lighter than they had in months. They had faced tradition, fear, distance, and misunderstanding. They had learned that love is not about possession, not about claiming, and not about fear. Love is freedom, trust, and courage. In the days and months that followed, Raiden and Elira became a symbol, not just for humans or Zenthari, but for anyone who believed in the power of choice and care. They traveled between worlds, spreading a message of hope, that love, when given freely, could bridge even the widest gap between species, cultures, and hearts. And on quiet nights, under countless stars, they would sit together, hand in hand, knowing that they had found something the galaxy could not take from them. Elira smiled softly. We did it, she whispered. Raiden kissed her forehead gently. We did, he said, and we always will. Under the endless starlight, in the infinite expanse of space, the alien girl who once did not understand love now knew it fully, and they had found it in each other. Love that was free, love that was chosen, and love that would endure across the stars. The universe watched silently as two hearts, from two worlds, beat together, unbound, unbroken, and truly alive.